In that hush stood Amaka, watching the distant trees. Beside her, Obinna shifted slowly, saying nothing. His feet pressed softly into the familiar soil. They had walked this path many times together, yet today the path felt longer than memory allowed. Amaka tilted her head toward the restless sky. Obinna followed her gaze without turning fully. The clouds stretched like old stories unraveling slowly. Neither of them reached for the other's hand. A single bird called from the mango tree nearby. Its cry lingered like a question without answer. Amaka closed her eyes, breathing in damp earth. Obinna watched her, his silence heavy with knowing. The river beyond the fields murmured their shared past. It carried echoes of laughter now softened by time. Amaka stepped forward, her wrapper brushing dry grass. Obinna walked beside her, careful not to rush. They remembered when this path held their younger shadows. Back then, the sun had felt closer to them. Amaka once ran here with unburdened, joyful steps. Obinna once chased her, laughing into golden evenings. Now their steps matched the rhythm of quiet acceptance. The wind pressed gently against their tired shoulders. Amaka paused beside the ancient iroko tree. Obinna leaned against its bark without speaking. The tree seemed to recognize both their names. Its roots held stories older than their memories. Amaka traced a mark carved many seasons ago. Obinna watched her fingers follow the fading lines. They had carved those lines during a distant afternoon, a promise once spoken without fear of endings. Amaka exhaled slowly, her breath trembling slightly. Obinna lowered his gaze, listening to her silence. The sky shifted, wearing a softer shade of blue. Sunlight filtered through leaves like scattered blessings. Amaka turned, her eyes searching Obinna's quiet face. Obinna met her gaze, then looked toward the river. They continued walking without the need for words. The earth beneath them felt both familiar and strange. Amaka noticed footprints that no longer existed. Obinna felt the absence of something once certain. A gentle breeze carried the scent of ripe guava. It wrapped around them like an old, forgotten song. Amaka smiled faintly, remembering sweeter, simpler mornings. Obinna's lips curved slightly, though his eyes remained distant. The river appeared, shimmering beneath the soft sunlight. Its surface reflected fragments of a changing sky. Amaka knelt by the edge, touching cool water. Obinna stood behind her, watching ripples spread outward. The water seemed to respond to her presence. It moved as though greeting an old companion. Amaka dipped her fingers deeper, feeling its chill. Obinna shifted closer, his shadow joining hers. They stayed there, letting time pass unnoticed. The river whispered truths neither dared to speak. Amaka withdrew her hand, droplets falling like memories. Obinna bent slightly, observing each fading ripple. A silence settled, not empty but deeply full. It carried everything they had never truly said. Amaka looked at Obinna, her eyes soft yet distant. Obinna nodded gently, as if answering her thoughts. They sat together on the river's worn bank. Grass brushed against their ankles in quiet comfort. Amaka rested her hands on her lap, still. Obinna leaned back, staring into the drifting clouds. The clouds moved slowly, like reluctant goodbyes unfolding. Amaka followed their shapes with quiet attention. Obinna blinked slowly, holding on to something unseen. Neither wanted to disturb the fragile peace surrounding them. The sun began its gentle descent behind distant hills. Its light turned everything into shades of gold. Amaka stood, brushing dust from her wrapper carefully. Obinna rose beside her, his movements measured and calm. They began walking back along the familiar path. Each step felt like both return and quiet departure. Amaka glanced once more toward the shimmering river. Obinna did not turn, but he remembered it clearly. The wind returned, softer now, almost like farewell. It carried away fragments of the day's quiet moments. Amaka slowed her pace, letting Obinna walk ahead. Obinna paused, waiting until she walked beside him again. Their shoulders brushed lightly as they moved forward. That brief contact held more than any spoken words. Amaka breathed deeply, steadying her quiet heart. Obinna exhaled slowly, releasing something he had held. The village roofs appeared faintly beyond the trees. Smoke rose gently into the evening's calm sky. Amaka watched it curl upward, dissolving into nothingness. Obinna followed its path until it disappeared completely. They reached the edge of the path they knew best, where once they had begun countless shared journeys. Amaka stopped, her feet rooted to the earth. Obinna took one more step before noticing her stillness. He turned slowly, meeting her quiet, searching eyes. Amaka smiled gently, though her eyes shimmered faintly. Obinna's expression softened, understanding without explanation. The moment stretched, suspended between past and present. A distant breeze stirred the surrounding leaves softly. Nature seemed to lean closer, listening to them. Amaka lifted her hand slightly, then lowered it again. Obinna noticed, but did not reach out either. They both understood what remained unspoken between them. Not all endings needed to be spoken aloud. Some lived quietly in shared glances and gentle pauses. Some rested within the spaces between two breaths. The sky deepened into hues of fading amber. Shadows lengthened, wrapping the earth in calm darkness. Amaka stepped back, her gaze lingering on Obinna. Obinna nodded once, a promise without clear meaning. She turned slowly, beginning her walk toward home. Each step carried both weight and quiet freedom. Obinna watched her until she became part of distance. The wind shifted, carrying her presence away gently. He remained standing beneath the whispering evening trees, listening to the silence she had left behind. It was not empty, but filled with quiet understanding. The kind that comes after love learns to change. Amaka walked on, feeling lighter with every step. The path no longer stretched endlessly before her. It simply existed, steady and patiently waiting, like a story continuing without needing to be told. Obinna finally turned, heading in his own direction. His steps were slow, but no longer uncertain. The earth beneath him felt steady once again, as though it accepted both loss and quiet renewal. The night settled softly over the resting land. Stars appeared one by one, gentle and watchful. Amaka paused beneath the open sky, breathing deeply. Obinna looked upward too, miles away, but connected. Somewhere between them, the wind carried a memory, not heavy, not painful, but quietly enduring. A reminder that not everything truly disappears. Some things simply become part of who we are. And in that quiet understanding, both found peace.